The Mystics are cruising to start the 2013 season. How has Washington turned it around? Mystics PR intern Matt Jordan will join me next on Monumental Interns. Welcome into the first edition of Monumental Interns. I'm Danny Nolan. The Mystics started this season with 7 new players, including 4 rookies and a brand new head coach. Now, 5 games into the season, they are 4-1 and only a game back of the Eastern Conference leading Atlanta Dream. Matt Jordan, Mystics PR intern, gets to go behind the scenes and see everything for the Washington Mystics and let us shadow him this past Sunday for the victory over the Indiana Fever.
I'm Matt Jordan, and I'm a public relations intern.
I was going to check with Indiana. Yeah.
I love it. It's really fun. I love sports ever since I was little, so just to be around it and talking to people, it's an amazing experience.
Being around the team every day, doing some of the stats for the media, I learned a lot about the team. I really would say almost like it's like I'm an expert now.
On a typical game day, I get here 3 hours before the game. Me and the other PR interns, we collect stats, clippings from newspapers, media information. We set up the interview room with the banner, the microphone sleeve. Alright, so now I'm just going to talk to the refs and get their number and their names so we can put it on a sheet for both teams. Thank you. Up here is a lot of the offices for the Mystics and the Wizards. And this is where we usually come after the game to transcribe all the interview quotes that we get and put together the summary afterwards. So what were your overall thoughts about the game today?
Well, I thought we shot ourselves in the foot.
I really want to work for a sports team, so this is perfect. It kind of gives me the experience of what it takes to work in the sports industry. So we just finished up after a Mystics victory. Thanks for joining me today with Monumental Interns.
And joining us now is the intern himself, Matt Jordan. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
First question I got, Ivory Lotta. She's had a wonderful season, averaging over 20 points per game, but she's a very fiery individual. What's she like in the locker room?
In the locker room, she's definitely one of the most popular girls on the team. She's very funny. Everyone talks to her. On the court, you see her go over to Coach Tebow in between timeouts, free throws, get instructions, tells the girls. I think people respect her, but she's also very funny off the court. In the locker room, you always hear, "Oh, Ivory," making laughs. She's definitely a good element to this locker room.
Now, one of the things you get to do is you actually get to see the green screen recordings, the questions and answers that go up on the big screen. And you had a chance to see during Girl Scout Night the recordings for that. Walk me through and tell me how funny that was.
So I took some of the players up from the practice court up to the green screen room, like you said. And they're professional athletes, and they wanted to really get their competitiveness coming out. So each of the girls was timed putting a Girl Scout cookie on their forehead and had to work it way down into the mouth. I don't know how they came up with that, but that was definitely one of the funniest things. Seeing these girls over 6 feet tall trying to put this little cookie into their mouth, you would have thought it was one of the most difficult things ever, seeing them struggle and seeing, "Oh, what's my time? They took it very seriously.
Speaking of recordings, Kia Vaughn actually tried to do the Roy Hibbert challenge. For those who don't know, it's when you try to chug a Gatorade in 6 seconds. He did it during the Eastern Conference Finals of this NBA playoffs. She got pretty close. She got about 6.5 seconds on that recording. Does stuff like this happen all the time in the locker room and behind the scenes out there?
I was in the locker room the day before she tried it, actually, and they were all trying to give Kia pointers. "Oh, you can do this, you can do this." It's very easygoing back there. They realize that this is where they can really bond as a team with all the new players, and you always hear them laughing. I wouldn't be surprised if there's more bizarre tricks or trying to beat someone's time, so it's a really good atmosphere.
So we'll have to ask you later then.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you next time on another edition of Monumental Interns.